A way to look at developing a story in a way that has momentum to it is to think about how you deliver information about one of three things: plot, setting, and character. I also think that the art that you make can focus on one of these three things more intensely than another. So, for example, your work can really be about setting. It can be like a setting piece, or it can really focus on character. Slice of life stuff, that's really more about the characters than it is about the plot or the setting. The setting is often like a high school, and the plot is pretty generic. There's going to be conflict. People are going to have these little interpersonal dramas, but really you're there for the characters. You're there because you relate to the characters. You can have a plot-heavy story, which is really like an action story. This happens, and then that happens, and this happens. You can have plot-heavy romance stories or plot-heavy other kinds of stories, but it's going to be weird if it's like a super plot-heavy romance story, because you're supposed to care for the characters, right? Now, a setting story, those are the stories that really interest me, because those are the stories that are told through some kind of broad sweeping brush. A good example of a setting story is one that's really like about the setting. It's about the world the story takes place in. It's the story is almost being told to show off this unique and interesting world, and that allows you to sort of make the world first, and then ask yourself, okay, what kind of story happens in this world? Now, the best stories, obviously, are perfect. The ideal is the perfect interplay between these three core pillars. It's something, and when you deliver information, it's the kind of thing that delivers information about the world and the characters that live in the world, perhaps a character specifically that you're following in this world, and it pushes the plot forward in an interesting way. So that's the ideal. That's the slam dunk. That's if you're hitting it out of the park. But if you can't do all of that, then as long as you are communicating interesting information about a unique setting, or just the setting in general, but a unique setting, and or an interesting character, and or a plot development that keeps the story moving. If you can get one of those three, or two of those three, that's good, and you're probably providing the right information about a story. If you can't get any of them, then you might be wasting your reader slash listener slash watcher's time. And people don't have the dopamine for that shit anymore. Like, I don't think you can get away with writing like 50 pages. I don't think anyone's gonna read that. 50 pages about like what they had for breakfast.